this was an episode. Alright, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab my phone. Oh. No, hopefully this doesn't autoplay. Alright. There we go. Okay. Alright. Let me check my phone. Oh, treats for Era. Hold on, let me find my treats bag. Give me a second. I'm gonna go grab So they both have treats. They both get treats. Let me get water. Okay. Hello, I'm sampling my kitty niece and nephew from afar. Yep, I got, and then like the way the camera's set up, you can see that I did give it to them. Oh my god.
We are in odd hell. At least I am in odd hell.
Oh, the cats are on camera.
Well, I'm in odd hell. I don't know if the others are to be fair.
The cats are on camera.
I'm trying to pull YouTube. Okay, I can see the kitties.
Did you see them?
I can. I have both streams up. So.
Yeah, there's a tail and then there's a cat, a full-on cat.
It's a baby. I love them.
Okay, they're hiding behind me. Yes, this is a very like telephoto kind of webcam. I want to get a new one that's a little farther away, but I just haven't. Like doing my DSLR does the best output, but like it doesn't last as long as I need it for some streams. Okay, so the way that we do this, like we do the House of the Dragon recaps, is we literally go live like the second after we finish it. So we don't communicate during it, our live reactions to the end of the episode to each other. We do it now on stream so everyone can see our actual live reactions to it. My live reaction to this episode is, I would dub this episode the episode where everyone makes the wrong fucking choice and are dumb as hell. Jeez. Like, everyone.
No one is using their brain right now.
No one is using their brain.
Not a single person.
No, not at all. Like, Aegon?
Actually, Otto. I'll give Otto.
Otto is probably the only one using his brain in this episode.
He gets the single brain cell award.
Well, I would guess also Missaria.
Yeah, she can get a brain cell award.
But Otto does get our freaking brain cell award. Everyone else loses brain cells in this episode.
Literally, an award we didn't even normally have.
He lives with health. Everyone made a bad choice. Okay, like, I'm trying to think of like how we want to recap this episode, because we can almost recap this whole episode with like all the bad choices everybody made.
Yeah.
Like a timeline with the bad choices.
Like, so, I got the number.
Yeah, Otto always makes the right decision for him and his crew. So, I Jeez. So we start the episode off really I really really wish that we would have been able to see Aegon being told about what happened to his son the last episode, because the acting of the actor, who I think his name is Tom, that does Aegon, he's really good. He might be my
Okay,
favorite this season because he's doing such an amazing job.
so well.
He's bringing a lot of like personality and depth to Aegon that we were missing in the book and missing last season, and his acting is really good. So I really really wish we were able to see that. It's gonna be a long part. Yeah, that's gonna be a long part. I really really wish that we got to see that. The whole stuff of blood and cheese, I really think they missed a huge opportunity there. I just saw an article that I sent Steve this morning, that the producers came out and talked about how with blood and cheese, the reason why they didn't do it as it was written is because of having the young child actors on set and the limitations that they have with the young child actors, which makes sense to a degree. But we weren't asking to see a young actor be beheaded or harmed. Having them sleep during the scene, that was a good idea. And that was a way to get around it. What we were missing is the decision for Helena to make between her two sons. Now, another big thing that's different between this and the books is that at this point, Helena and Aegon have two sons and a daughter. In the show, she only has a son and a daughter. They have a son and a daughter. So now they only have a daughter. In the book, they have a son and a daughter still left. So yeah, in the book, she is forced to choose between her two sons, and she chooses her younger son to die because Aegon, the oldest one, is Aegon's heir. But they kill the older one, and then they tell the kid, your mom chose you to die. Helena lives with that regret the rest of her life. She also tells them to kill her instead, that was a very easy line they could have added into this. I don't know why they didn't. I don't know why they went with the take my necklace instead. It's very odd decisions to me. And I really wish we would have seen more, because I think that would really developed Helena's character more. But I don't know. So yeah, we didn't get to see that. We got to see the funeral procession, but the funeral procession confused me. I still have no idea what the heck they were trying to hint at with the funeral procession. Do you have any idea? Like, I'm gonna go in and see it if I can find it. Do you have any idea what the heck they were trying to hint at? Well, not even like
which part?
Like, okay, they have this really, really long, drawn-out carriage scene. Okay. And showing Helena being uncomfortable. And then also showing that the carriage gets stuck. She's very uncomfortable. She's looking up. She's seeing all the things fall on her and stuff like that. They do very close-up scenes to her face, like they're trying to say or insinuate something. And it kind of feels like they're trying to build her character here in a way, but they could have easily done that in the blood and cheese scene. So, like, if you look at my screen here, it's this scene here where she's just looking up and it has the veil really tight against her face. And the petals are falling. Like, I thought that there was something going to come of that scene, and nothing comes of it, and I'm very confused about that.
I think it's essentially just like the sensory overload of everyone's there and watching her, and she's unable to grieve in privacy because
it's like
she's surrounded by people that she doesn't understand why they have to watch her, because they're strangers and she doesn't want to be near strangers.
But the thing is, like, so that's giving her more character development because it's definitely hinting that she has, like, Asperger's. Definitely.
Yeah, I think that's definitely what they're getting at
But
there.
why do that and not do the development, like, the major character development that would go on from the blood and cheese scene? Like, why cut that out and add this in?
There's a similar scene where Rhaenyra sees ashes or petals falling too later.
I'm guessing it's like
Yeah, to draw a comparison between the two as well.
But I just feel like that was really missed. I really do, but that's my opinion with it. Because I found it very confusing.
I didn't necessarily find it confusing. I do wish we had gotten more out of her though during that scene.
I wish we would have seen, like, we saw Helena and Aegon, like, interact briefly in the hallway, but I really wish we got to see them more interact.
Yeah.
In general, we don't see them interact a lot. Like, we haven't, even, like, the first season, we saw her more interact with Aemond versus Aegon. So, I do know that the actor did say that the Helena's character can see the future. So she knows what's going to happen. So maybe that's kind of what it's trying to hit. But it's just, like, for me, it's very confusing the direction they're taking Helena's character, because they could have just developed her more for things that happen later, to be more impactful, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we have that. Okay, so after we get past the funeral procession scene, we go to what I think is the first stupid mistake of the whole full episode, of the characters' mistakes of this episode. And that is literally Daemon fighting with Rhaenyra. I would say it's Rhaenyra fighting with Daemon. That was the dumbest choice for Rhaenyra. Okay, so she needs people who know battle. There's already been demonstrated in season 1, and she knows from Daemon as a child. He's already demonstrated great ability to fight and things like that. Daemon knows the area well. He knows King's Landing very well. He knows the dragons, like, everything really well. He also knows where all the dragons are. He knows all the like, where they are at all times, all the dragon names, all of that. Like, Rhaenyra probably also knows that information, but having somebody else there that knows this is incredibly beneficial to you. No matter what, and Rhaenyra has to know this at this point, or no matter what, they're gonna go to war. There's no option. Like, there's no other thing at this point. Why push Daemon away?
Yeah, you need everyone.
You need everybody you can get.
And not just an incredibly strong ally. Like, why risk turning him into an enemy when you're already so limited?
Not just that, but you don't just lose Daemon, you lose his dragon. And this is a war of dragons.
You potentially lose his children because they're his kids, not yours, too.
Yeah. This was the dumbest. And actually, Daemon really held back a lot in this scene, which is very interesting. So Rhaenyra, in my opinion, is just making really dumb decisions.
It's a lot of people making a lot of emotional decisions without thinking really at all.
Yeah. So she had to confront him about the kid getting murdered. He tells her, this is whatever. Is going to cost him and he's going to cost them other combatants. But it's just a dumb decision, in my opinion. It's really dumb to push Daemon away, because there's a war. I think that there's a lot of ways they could have spun that. Um, there's a lot of ways I think they could have spun that, but Rhaenyra is just so like, I guess, emotionally driven at this point. She's not thinking strategically yet, but we
There's also
see
the
that
fact
with
that
like
like
everybody.
the way they changed it too is so that Damon is not culpable because the way he told Rhaenyra, he's like, "No, I told them to go after Abe. Like
Yeah.
I told them to go after the king's brother. I said nothing about killing a little kid." And she's like, "I don't believe you." Like, which that's her prerogative to not believe him, I guess. But at the same time, it's also like they definitely twisted it to make him less involved in the situation.
Also, him being,
It's like he had me
I'm not
arrested for the
responsible for the
murders.
people he contracted out for murders. But you could also say it's also Rhaenyra's fault too, because she
Yeah,
did
Rhaenyra did
say
call
that
for
she
it.
wanted a Aemond.
Yeah, she said that she wanted, and that is what Damon ordered from
That's what Daemon ordered.
when ordered Aemon death. Um, and that wasn't necessarily his fault per se. Like the
Yeah,
blame of
he says he didn't. I think he says he didn't give them any instructions if they couldn't find Aemond.
yeah, which he should have. He should have been as absolutely clear as humanly possible. And accounted for the fact of what if they can't find him. That being said, like the ultimate, I mean, the choice was made by Bud. Like that was just that was his choice. Was to go after the kid. Um, and he was also kind of going off of what David had said. To be fair, he said he was going off of the son for a son aspect, and it's like, okay, we can't find
Yeah.
Aemond. Like we have to kill someone, or else we're not getting paid. So it's like he is working off of Damon's words, but not Damon's
I
orders.
think you could have. It's hard with Daemon because you need to have him on your side, and you cannot. But it's like almost like you need to have him there, but you might not fully trust him, but you need to have him,
Yeah, someone like Damon, I don't
and
think
you
you could ever
gotta.
really
But
fully
so you
trust.
almost have to like keep him there, but keep an eye on him.
Yeah. And I think Viserys understood that very well, where it's like
That's what
we need to
Viserys
keep
did.
Daemon
Yeah.
in the room because he's our ally.
He needs
Oh,
babysat. He needs babysat.
yes. Exactly. We can't if he's not around.
Yeah.
He
So
knows yeah, tough wild.
so they get into the fight. Like he goes to Heron Hall, and if I remember correctly, basically that's where he's going to be for the rest of the Dance of the Dragons.
They asked about it and he just gave them a smoldering look. In my opinion, Rhaenyra's mistake was calling Daemon out for not ever having been the heir. Let that shit go. It made him angry. I agree with that. Like she was definitely trying to get him angry and trying to
She
start a fight.
was, yeah,
And he held back in that fight for a long
he
time.
did for Daemon. Yeah,
He's clearly not the best at restraining his anger, and he did an admirable job this
so,
time.
so let's see. I mean, if it was me in this fight and I'm doing the exact same words as Rhaenyra, as soon as Daemon said to me, "I'm the one who put the crown on your head," that's where I would have stopped the fight, because it's like, okay, you've shown some like loyalty,
She pushed his buttons
but I
when
would
she didn't
also
need
want to
to.
definitely keep him on a leash.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like if you don't trust him, that's all the more reason to not tell him you don't trust him and keep him closer if anything.
So I
Like
actually
if you don't trust him, you need him near you.
I thought Damon's like, okay, so I mean, I actually haven't muted. I don't know if I'll get dinged. I mean, if I get dinged, I get dinged. I haven't muted, but I'll just play some of the scene, I guess, muted. I don't know if it will work.
Yes, on. You do right.
I think.
We had subs, right? I think we did.
Yeah, like Damon's expression here was amazing to me. um, but yeah, like this whole scene was just, like that was probably the first mistake of the episode out of many mistakes this episode. Yeah, I would have been like, yeah, next time just run that by me first. I think I agree. Like, the problem is that I, at this point, reality should be have set in because Lucerys is already dead. But it's almost like she's denying it and not taking it seriously at first. But, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything else to say about this scene? Because this scene was... okay.
Yeah, I don't necessarily blame her for being angry at Damon, because in a way he was responsible because he is the one that gave the order. That being said, I think definitely she let it go on for too long. She pushed buttons that were unnecessary. She was looking for a fight for sure. And I think that, like, honestly, Damon held back way longer than I expected him to. He I expected him to start throwing punches pretty fast, and he held back for a long time before he started like hitting those same buttons back.
Yes. All right. And then we have more drama between Kristen Cole and Alicent, and you can ask Dean my exact question during this scene here was how many times are we going to see Alicent taking a bath this season? I understand its symbolism. I'm just very tired of seeing it. I'm actually already very much over Kristen Cole and Alicent's relationship at this point. So I really hope that it dies off first quickly because I'm kind of over it already. I understand the symbolism. I'm just really tired of seeing her take baths in the show. I think she still hopes to resolve things diplomatically.
I think for an Alicent too, but there's not that much that can be done with.
Yeah, I mean, Alicent definitely still does, but she's just full. Okay, so the next.
I think we've gone too far on both sides, and they both have people on their sides that are like not gonna play reasonable.
All right. So next scene is Kristen Cole at this point is feeling really
Miserable.
Not miserable, but like responsible for Jacaerys, I think it's just Jacaerys' death, because he was supposed to be on watch that night, and he was not. He was with Alicent. So we know that from season 1, when he doesn't do his duty right, he gets very like suicidal. So we see him make the probably second dumbest decision in this whole thing and go and for some reason blame Eric Cargyle for the murder of the child, even though he was doing his duty watching King Aegon, who is the top priority out of all the royals. He gets blamed for it. So Kristen Cole tells him that while Aegon is drunk, he should have left Aegon to go check on the children.
Yeah, because Kristen Cole asked them, "Why didn't you go upstairs?" Because the king was still in the throne
I
room.
think it
Like
was
it's
from
the guard
he was in the
king.
throne room drunk with people.
Like
Like,
there's no way it ended badly.
so basically he puts on all his wrongdoing onto Eric Cargyle. Um,
Like why weren't you doing both of our jobs?
yeah, basically. He makes a big thing about the purity of the White Cloak, and the White Cloak was dirty because he was actually doing his job and was trying protecting Helena during the funeral service. Which is another like symbolism, and I get that. But yeah, he puts all of it onto Eric Cargyle, and I'm very confused by that. Like, he's trying to right his mistake by sending Eric Cargyle to kill Rhaenyra and end the war fast by pretending that he is his brother. He thinks that this is a great plan, that nothing bad could ever happen, except for the twin brother
Your
is
twin.
there. He even says, "What are you going to do? What if I run into my brother?" No answer. And he says, "You're sending me to my death." He says, "Or to glory." There was a 50-50% chance. The percent chance actually might be more than 50-50 of him losing it. It was probably a 70-30% chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, he also points out why the queen wasn't given a dedicated guard yet. So he's really questioning Kristen Cole's like command at this point. And I was just at this point I was he also questioned where he was, which I was like, thank God somebody really pushed him on that.
Yeah, someone's finally
He
like,
got
where
off
were
easy.
you?
He got off really easy.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like
It was
out of
such a dumb
everyone that
decision.
Aegon questioned,
it was such a
questioned
dumb
Cole at
decision
all.
such a dumb decision to send one of your, you know, Kingsguard to go kill. Like, why? Why?
Yeah.
But like, I feel like
So
this
if he
whole
hadn't been caught by his brother, that would have worked out in a minute.
season is literally going to be Kristen Cole making dumb decisions. I don't think he's gonna make any good decisions for the rest of the dance, to be honest.
I'm not entirely sure of how many good decisions Kristen Cole has ever made.
That is very true. I think maybe he got a few in the last season, but I don't know. I hate how easy Kristen
Like,
Cole is getting away with his stuff. He's so. I hate that how much he's getting away with it too. And I think the only reason he's able to get away with everything is because it's Aegon.
Yeah, and Aegon is making equally silly choices, which is also emotionally driven, and we understand. I mean, he did just lose his son, and that is terrible. But he's still making dumb choices.
I did love seeing the Eric Cargyle staring up to Kristen Cole.
Yeah.
I really did like that. I just like in this scene he said, "You disgraced our ranks." Everything at the end, anytime there's any kind of like hierarchy, it falls on the top person.
Yeah.
And so it is his fault, even if it was Eric's duty. He should have been make sure that Eric was doing his duty. But he was messing around with Alicent.
Also, can I say something that relates to later in the episode, or are we going chronologically?
Let's go chronologically. What is the next thing chronologically? Let's go check. Oh, we see the scene. I'm not sure how well it's translated in the series for people who haven't read the book, so let me know. Dee already knows this because I mentioned it. We see that Aemond has a affinity for older women, in this scene. I can't actually, it might have been touched in season 1 as well, but Aemond has an affinity for older women. We see him that he finally does admit that it was a mistake to killing Lucerys, and that he feels guilty with it. I really wish that this opened up season 2, that we saw this interaction with him. And honestly, I would have probably liked seeing it more between him and Alicent, but at least we finally did see it
with like the horror, because it is telling that he doesn't feel like he can open up to his mom, and that there's definitely, he's trying to make amends. He's like, all right, I can't have this kind of open communication with my mom, so definitely some deep rooted trauma there.
And then we're starting to plant some seeds of characters that are going to be very important in the future. We have Hugh Hammer, we have the Whole brothers. We have them. They're also going to be very important coming up, and we're slowly developing them, which is really good. I do like how they're developing Hugh Hammer. He's going to be very important. I don't know how much is going to be touched on the whole brothers, Adam Hole and Alan Hole, because in the book they are rumored to be. There's 2 rumors in the book. In the book, they're rumored to be the bastard sons of Rhaenyra's first husband, which we know that can't be true because he's gay. And the second one is that they're the bastard children of the sea snake. To me, it feels like they're more the sea snake, and that looks like the avenue that the show is going towards. So that's going to be very interesting. The battle that is going to happen after Rook's Rest is the Battle of the Gullet, which is a battle on the seas. So we're going to see a lot of the sea stuff. We're going to see a lot of them in it. It's going to be very interesting, honestly. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it's interesting. Rook's Rest has to be good, because Rook's Rest is what they've used the majority of the trailers. The majority of the fighting footage has been there. So, very much looking forward to that. Well, I am and I'm not, because I know what happens and it's not good. All right.
Yeah, I definitely agree that it seems much more likely that they're Corlys's sons, as opposed to being Laenor's sons, just especially age-wise, like the way that they're portrayed. They seem too old to have been Laenor's sons. At least in the portrayal on the show, for sure. So I think it's definitely getting more at them being Corlys's son, especially with the line of like, oh, like he owes us that much.
Okay, so we got to. All right, I'm going past this because a lot of this will come up later in the series. So I guess we can talk more about these kind of scenes like later on, like when it's shown more, because I feel like right now it's too like vague. Okay, so then we get back to King's Landing, and Aegon had made the very, very, very dumb decision to hang all the rat catchers. Very dumb. Very, very like, this is like,
yeah,
why?
Not to have them hanged either, but to have them publicly
displayed
where their families can just go and find them.
Yeah.
I'm like, why would you do that?
It's like you killed.
Why? You need allies.
This is the third dumb decision. Majorly dumb decision. But not the dumbest of the episode. The dumbest of the episode comes up right after this. But this was such a dumb decision on Aegon's point. And it just shows his ignorance of like the consequences of his actions. Oh my gosh. This scene actually...
Yeah, like, I did the right thing. Like, they didn't tell me which rat catcher, so I hanged them all. It's like, you may have gotten the right guy. Someone may have slipped through your fingers. Either way, plenty of innocent people are now dead and displayed to their families, and everyone knows it was on you.
Yep. And like
So
this scene
like,
when Otto comes in and he's like, "What have you done?" And he's just like, "Oh, I hanged all the rat catchers." It's like no,
he's like, that's not the answer.
yeah, like it's not clicking to it. Um
No, he's like, what do you mean? I thought it looked pretty obvious. Like, do I really have to explain that to you?
oh my gosh, like this scene between Otto and Aegon was brilliant.
Oh my god,
it
it
was
was
brilliant. Angry.
beautiful.
I've like
Ah,
this scene of Otto, I was like literally like he's just like, I'm surrounded by idiots. Like this scene,
really.
that is the vibe I got to.
You're so dumb. The part where he was like, and what did Kristen Cole do?
Yes, and what did Kristen Cole do? And tells him the
Because,
dumb.
listen, like at least Kristen Cole did something. He's like, oh my god, no.
Oh my god,
No,
he's doing
what-
something. What did
what
he
did
do?
you do?
What did he do? It's like
You guys are in the same room together. This is god awful.
this is like Dumb and Dumber. It was like
He's like, oh my god, I thought it was bad enough when you hanging all the rat catchers. You did what?
you
That
did
was
what?
all.
You sent one of the Kingsguard alone to penetrate Rhaenyra's area. And you thought this was a good decision. And they're both like, yeah, it seems good. It's great. And it's like, what, you guys are idiots. You guys are idiots. The chance the chance
Also,
of yeah.
I think it's very telling. He had the rat catchers all hanged, and in that same scene, he was very much heeding Laris's words of, "Hey, Otto is your dad's hand. Like, why would you follow
Yeah, this
his
was actually
instructions? You don't want to be weak like your dad."
this
And
is actually seeds that were laid
that
by
correlation
Laris.
between the rat. Yeah, the correlation of the rat catchers are all gone now, and you're falling right into the hands of Laris Strong. Beautiful. Love that combo. Because it's like he played right into the hands of Laris by being like, hey, you need to appoint your own hand.
The Dumb and Dumber 3 the Westeros edition. That's literally this episode. But like, oh my god. Great acting overall in this scene. I think we'll talk about this at the end, I think. But there's fantastic acting. I did not want
has some really, really good acting.
I did not want this episode to come because I do not want to lose Otto Hightower because I love him as a character and I think he's very much needed for that counterbalance. So we see that Aegon makes the brilliant decision to remove Otto as his hand and give it to Kristen Cole. Why?
Laris Strong.
This was the dumbest decision in the episode. Like, it's
We knew it
because
was coming. Oh my god.
because of his immaturity, he doesn't realize how bad of a decision this is.
Yeah, and
He's
because of his immaturity and his emotional response, he's like, you're disagreeing with me and you're calling me stupid. The only reason you could do that is because you want me under your thumb and you want me to remain weak like my father. Well, I have you beat. You're fine.
like
Maybe he just wants you to make better choices.
like if he would have taken a second and reviewed the history, because Otto wasn't just the hand of his father, he was also the hand of Jaehaerys, which was the ruler before him. So he is a third hand.
Yeah.
and Jaehaerys and Viserys, both their reigns were a peaceful reign. So if you do 2 minutes of researching history, you realize that he has the knowledge, the experience, and the show for results that he's helps them lead. And where it might seem like weak because they're not fighting, it's keeping the realm at peace, and it's keeping the little people at peace. I did forget to mention there is a very good line that is said by the prostitute that is with Aemond, which is when princes get mad or show their anger, the little people suffer, and that's very, very true. It's almost like this battle of like spoiled children, and all the little people, like all the small folk, they are the cannon fodder. It's really sad. But like we have to remember that these are spoiled children. The real people who lose in this are the small folk. And we do see that somewhat in this episode. We see the effects of the blockade and how they can't get food in certain areas, particularly in King's Landing. But yeah, Otto's very skilled at Shadow Wars. Yeah, so... But Aegon he's a peacock, as Otto says in this episode. He just wants to fight. He wants revenge. He wants to be like a man. He wants to show it. But Otto's trying to take him a step back and be like, we need to think about this. But he doesn't want to fight with words. He wants to fight with violence and action, which is not the way to fight. Not the way to rule. Not the way to fight a war. This was definitely the dumbest decision of the episode. However, it is a decision that like goes in line with Aegon's character, so it's not a decision that's out of character. It's just a dumb decision for his character to have made, if that makes sense. So I'm not like critiquing the series for like having him make that decision. I'm critiquing him as a character doing that decision. I just want to...
Yeah. He makes a lot of bad choices as a character, and I love him for his bad choices.
I think it helps a lot with, like, just... Yeah, so he says here, I wish to spill blood, not ink. He just wants to go prove himself. He doesn't want to be seen as weak. He wants to be seen as strong. We do see that. He does wear the Crown of the Conqueror. In terms of the Targaryen crowns, he didn't win the word peaceful crown. He just wants to prove himself. And we do see that a lot. He just wants to prove himself. We even saw that when he was like younger. He wants to prove himself to everybody.
And he never really had approval from like his mother.
No, he never had approval from his mother or father. We see that at the end of this episode where he doesn't get the affection that his mother should have given him. Which made me so angry in that moment.
Yeah, she walked in, she sees him crying, and she's like, oh, gotta leave. Let's walk away, don't want to comfort him.
We do find out in this scene, though, that Otto is aware that Viserys did not want Aegon as the heir. So that is admitted / heavily hinted, I guess, by Otto, that he knows that he wasn't supposed to be the heir. Which is... It's good, because he says he was right about you.
Yeah, and then Aegon says, like, my father wanted
he made me king, and...
chose me to be king. He's like, oh, you think you're...
Is that what you think? That's what he says. Is that what you think? When Otto threw the Hand of the King over at Kristen Cole, I was like, yep, that's what I would have done too. I would have been like, F you. Just throw it. This is like throwing your resignation letter at your boss.
Blind leading the blind at this point. Like, no one knows what's happening. There's not a thinking head in this small town.
Oh, I loved his delivery. Oh my god, the acting in this scene is incredible.
Oh, it was so good.
Yeah, the
I love that delivery as well.
Okay. Do you have anything else you want to say about this scene between Otto, Kristen, and Aegon. It's very much like you said, the blind leading the blind. He says here he
It-
calls him an insolent pup. So
the second time he's called him an insulin pup because he called him an insulin pup during the
you think yourself clever. You think yourself clever, but without a strong hand at your side. To guide.
because he also called him an insulin pup during the parishioner scene.
Even Kristen Cole was shocked that he was becoming the Hand of the King. Which Kristen Cole shouldn't be the Hand of the King, because Kristen Cole needs to go lead. He needs to go fight.
Yeah, he's the captain of the guard already. Like,
He's the captain of the King Guard. Why are you doing this?
Now you need a captain of the King's Guard.
Yes, now you
and
need
you just
him.
lost another member. You've lost 2 King's Guard now.
Yeah, you've lost 2. You've lost 2. Why?
He's a competent enough fighter, but it's like, do you really want him to be your thinking? Like, to help you make decisions? Like, you just got yourself a yes man. Like, that's all you did.
Yeah, he got himself a yes man. A very stupid yes man, because he's the dumbest
Yeah.
character of this season so far.
Literally, not even just a yes man. He's like, I'm a yes man that will give you even worse choices.
Yeah.
I can lead you to much worse places.
It's like he starts Aegon
very sad.
starts making the right choice, and he's like, no, we can't make that. We gotta go down the bad path. And he's like, oh, okay.
You're so right.
He's like, bestie,
I
you're
didn't
right.
think that way, but you're so right. Also, Kristen's only been commander for 5 days at this point. He is rising through those ranks so
Yeah.
fast.
Okay. All right, and we finally seen one of the saddest scenes that's in the book, to me, which is the Battle of the Cargill twins. This was the best scene in the show for me so far. I loved how they did this, loved how it was filmed and shot, and I loved the emotion of the twin actors. They did such a fantastic job. I think it was kind of silly that Rhaenyra never left. Like, she would have easily have gotten killed, and she just kind of like stayed in the room and watched
She
the fight.
didn't know which twin was which. Like,
She's
she's just betting on the fact that no one's gonna try and lie and pretend to protect her and just kill her.
yeah, the Battle of Cargill twins. It's very sad. We really see how this war has really affected the small folk, and is causing division in families and things like that. Like you see the twins. It's so sad, and it's they don't want to fight this war, and they don't want to be on opposite sides. They just it's so sad.
It's like, we were born together and you're the one that divided us. Like,
Yeah,
we were born together, we're supposed to be together.
we're supposed to be together.
And you're the one that separated us. We are on opposite sides of this war because of
And yeah, you can see that they love each other still dearly, and they miss each other very dearly. But because of their duties, because they are Kingsguard or Queensguard, they are sworn, and they are sworn to duty, and they are more sworn than Kristen Cole. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. If Kristen Cole's commander had been like, listen, I need you to go there and I need you to kill Rhaenyra, he would have been angry enough to do it, for sure, but like, I don't think he probably would have. I think he may have valued his own life more than that. Maybe.
Yeah, it was very well choreographed, very well acted scene. It's one of the scenes that I was not looking forward to because I knew it was going to come from season 1. So when I saw the Cargill twins, I was like, oh, it's very sad. It's a very sad scene. It does show how the war is affecting everybody. I don't really feel like Rhaenyra and Aegon, it's really hitting them yet, which is very odd to me because both of them have had children that have died in this war, that it's affecting others beyond them.
Literally, Otto said something along the lines of like, you don't understand that every one of those like commoners that you just killed, every rat catcher was a father or a son or a brother. Like, they all had family. and you killed them all to maybe get the right guy.
To maybe get the right
And
guy.
you could just
You
see that
killed
Aegon
innocent
was
people, and he said they are swearing your name at the gates. He didn't like. I guess they don't see. I feel like Rhaenyra and Aegon aren't seeing other people as people. They're
yeah,
seeing them as, I don't know, like pieces on a puzzle. Um, that's what I
they're
feel,
seeing them as
especially
a mass
Aegon's
as
side.
opposed to individuals. They're seeing them as the common folk, as one unit, as opposed to a group of people that are equally complicated and emotionally driven as themselves.
Yeah. And more on Aegon's side, but it makes sense because Aegon is younger. He's much more inexperienced because he wasn't taught and raised to be a king. Rhaenyra
Yeah,
has.
all of Viserys' failings to raise Rhaenyra to be queen. I mean, Aegon got even less than she did,
He did.
and he's a lot younger.
Okay. All right, and then we have the scene where Alicent goes to confront Aegon about the mistake of taking her father off as hand of the king, and she walks in on her son weeping over the stress and the sadness of the situation. Really, really good acting in this scene from Aegon's actor. Adds another layer of
Yeah, he
depth to
did
his
bonus this
character.
episode.
Does another layer of depth to his character. I wanted so badly for Alicent to comfort her son at that point. And there were two things you could have done with this. One, you could just be a decent person and a good mother and just comfort your crying child who has just lost his own child that he adored so much and is going through this very stressful time in his life. And two, if you don't want to make this connection with your child because you want to be so selfish, you're making a connection with him to help make him more malleable to what you want so you can get the father back in the position. And she makes none of those decisions. Yeah. She decides not to comfort her child who needs help desperately, is an emotional mess, and goes.
Yeah, she just said that she needed to manipulate him. Like
she just said,
someone needs to keep like the reins on Aegon, and she has perfect opportunity to get in his ear, and he's clearly emotional and upset. And you can use that, like at the very least, like if you're not going to be a decent mother, you can use his emotionality to your advantage here. No, she's like, I am not dealing with the emotions of my least favorite child.
Okay. And then we see she goes in the room. She takes off all of her jewelry, which is symbolism of, like the, facade and everything like that. And she sees that she slaps Criston Cole, so she's really showing that she's fighting herself. But at the end, she goes in and just starts making out with him. And at this point, I was just so freaking done with their relationship. And I'm so done with Alicent this season.
Sleep together in every episode. Like at this point, it's gonna happen, isn't it?
Walked over and put a hand on to comfort her, and she went to bed Criston Cole. Yes. So I actually, we went over it actually quite fast. The scene with Alicent and Otto, I've actually been really enjoying it, and it's actually interesting because people last season were saying how Otto wasn't a good father to Alicent. But he's being a better father to her than she is to her own child. At least he puts a hand on her shoulder and gives her words of comfort. Oh my gosh.
When she was like,
thank you so much for the follow. I am so
sorry. Oh my gosh, thank you.
I just got so lost in thought. It made me jump.
When Alicent was like, Father, I've sinned. Like, he's immediately just like, I don't want to hear it. Like, it's okay. Mistakes were made. He doesn't really ask to know more, and I mean, she doesn't really need to tell him. Like, it's like, okay, like, you can't really change what happened in the past. The problem is she commits this fact. She's ready to commit, or to admit to it to her father.
And he
And
said,
then
I
she
don't
goes
want to know.
again.
I don't want to know.
He said, I don't want to know.
I don't want to know.
And then she goes, does it again.
She does. Like, it's really showing that the high towers really struggle, well, particularly with Allison. She's raised to be this Christian person, this good Christian, do no wrong sin person, and she's fighting the two sides of herself, the side that she was raised to be and the side that she wants to be. And I'm kind of over it at this point, and we're only on episode 2 with it.
Yeah, like, you really resent her for like being able to be free spirited and do what she wants, and like Kristen Cole, and it's like I get that, but at the same time, it's also like that has been the theme of your character this entire time. Only
Also,
two episodes.
with the scene with Otto and Allison, they finally acknowledged that she has another son. Finally, when that happened, I was like, finally they acknowledged that Darren exists, because he has not been acknowledged this entire season yet, or in general. Thank you so much for the follow. I was so happy when they finally acknowledged he was a person.
Yeah, finally someone acknowledged his existence, because like
he becomes very important later. And I believe that the writers did say that he does exist, but he's not been mentioned at all. I'm very confused why they made the decision not to mention him, not to show him or anything like that. Now, in the book, he is in Old Town at this point, but I feel like narratively it would have been better or easier for the audience to have just shown, like, I don't know, a little blonde child in the corner when last season, or even mention him at another time, because he was a very important character later. So like I was very excited that they finally acknowledged his existence. As far as I know, he has not been cast yet. I'll have to look that up. All right, Dee, while I'm looking that up, what were your thoughts?
Actually, I'm gonna hop real quick to our YouTube comment section.
Do we have YouTube comments?
We do have a YouTube comment.
Oh, I don't see it.
Because unfortunately I missed it. That being said, ACC or ACAA, if I could talk, ACACC said retribution for the dog being kicked.
Yes, it was retribution for the dog being kicked. It was retribution, like seeing it, like when the dog was like staring at the rat catcher while he was hanging. I was like, thank God. Honestly, I was thinking the same. I think he should have at least been mentioned in the first season. That's what I'm saying. They should have at least had some kind of hint or some kind of mention, because a lot of people are watching this show like casually. They're not watching it as crazily as I am, or a lot of people are, or have read the book. They're going to be very lost. And when you're doing something like writing something, you want it as clear as possible. There's so many Targaryens running around and stuff like that. Like, people are going to be confused. And he's very, very important. Now, I was looking at the episode list, and the way that they have their episodes set up, the Battle of Rook's Rest is going to be episode 4, which is quite fast, but a lot of this is fighting. Now, if I remember correctly, the stuff with Darren happens right after the Battle of the Gullet. And the Battle of the Gullet is right after Rook's Rest. So he should be here at the second half of this season. But I'm not sure if his actor has been cast. I was really shocked too.
Yeah. I also was very shocked that he was mentioned. I'm really glad he finally got brought up.
I don't think his actor's been cast though. I don't think he's been. Yes. But yeah, I'm hoping we see like. Yeah. And then let's see. Yeah. So this was actually a very slow episode. Which I don't mind. I like slow episodes, but like as a general audience, I feel like for the general audience, it would be a very slow episode. Because we're seeing a lot of just Alicent. I'm very over her character. I'm very over Kristen Cole. The people that are really standing out to me are Aegon. Rhaenyra's not doing much, but in the book she actually doesn't do that much at all. The writers actually said they're going to be giving her more stuff to do because she really doesn't do anything in the book, which I think is a good decision. The only person that's like really carrying this for me is Aegon and Otto, but now we are losing Otto, so it's only Aegon carrying it. Now, next week we should see more of Aemond as well, but it does scare me a little bit moving forward. Now, if we have Rook's Rest in episode 4, that's going to be a very heavy Aegon Aemond episode. And I'm very much looking forward to that. I think that's going to be a great episode, and it should be because that's what majority of the trailer has been, is Rook's Rest. I've been talking a lot to set out this stream.
I am equally terrified.
Oh, another thing I did say when we were watching the episode, I really liked that how much they bully the Lannisters. Like, he says, he goes up to him when Aegon's angry, and he's like, "Were you threatened, my king?" And he, like, hits down what he's holding. He's like, "I could have been." It's just, that was so funny to me. Oh my gosh.
Maybe we'll find a way to work Otto in.
They're gonna have to find a way to work Otto in.
Yeah.
I mean, because Kristen Cole's just not strong enough. He's not strong enough. Like, I think it's the writing. I don't think it's the actor. He's just not strong enough to hold it his own. So next episode, we're going to be seeing more of Harrenhal, which should be very interesting. In theory, we should be seeing some new characters over in the Harrenhal part, which is very important, going to be moving forward. It also should be a Daemon heavy episode, which means it should be good. But yeah. All right. Do you have any other thoughts before we pick our MVP and our LVP?
Also, we have to pick our ratings for this episode.
Okay. Do you have any other thoughts before we do our ratings, our LVP, and our MVP for this episode?
I think we mostly touched on everything. And despite the fact how short it was, I did really like Aemon's part of this episode. I like the fact
Poor
that
Lannister
more emotional.
When they tormented the Lannister, that was my thought too. I was like, this is why the Lannisters wanted their revenge.
The Lannister said, "We'll never
forgive this." The Lannisters always pay their debts.
Me too.
That is amazing. Okay, I'm so sorry. What were you saying?
I really did like Aemon's part, despite how small it was. Like, seeing him being more emotional for once, like, since he was a kid, I think is very telling for his character. And it's like, again, like, given the right, against like the image he's like curated for himself, it's like, despite how he is, if he had been given any kind of positive reinforcement growing up whatsoever by either parent, like, he turned out to be
we really see
so strong and so powerful in such a non-terrible way.
We really
like,
see
could have done so well.
We really see how bad Alicent was as a mother in this episode, because you do have the scene with Aemond, you know, with the older woman and stuff like that, which is symbolism of wanting comfort from like an older female that he did not get from his mother.
He feels successful in a relationship with his mom.
I think that's the symbolism there. And then we see that she won't even comfort Aegon, even though it will benefit her in the long run. So it really shows how bad of a mother Alicent is. If it, like, the most caring she is to is Helena, and even that, she's not that much caring, but then there's like also this delicacy with Helena because of her not wanting to be touched.
Yeah.
So overall, I'd probably give this episode probably give it like an 8. It was a lot better than last week's episode, and I think the Battle of the Cargills was done really, really well compared to Blood and Cheese. What would you give this episode?
I also give it an 8. I really did enjoy the Battle of the Cargills one. I really enjoyed. We had a lot of small meetings between like 2 or 3 characters this episode, and I think that it did a really good job with those. With introducing a couple more new characters, with introducing still more rising tensions. It was definitely like a bit of a slower episode. That being said, I feel like the consistency and the pacing within this episode was a lot better than the last episode. I think Blood and Cheese really, really lowered this episode for me. I feel like this one was strong.
This one was a lot stronger, and I think
the dumb mistakes.
Yeah, this was listed episode of dumb mistakes.
And honestly, I'm kind of looking for it.
So who is your MVP this episode?
Oh god. Actor-wise, I would say it has to be Aegon's actor. Character-wise, I would say it has to be Otto.
It's like, am I torn? I would say I'm gonna have to give it to Aegon again this episode because his actor is fantastic, and I just have to give it to him. The only one who has a half a brain though is Otto, so Otto is definitely the best this episode. My LVP
Otto wins the brain cell award.
My LVP is, of course, Kristen Cole.
Did Kristen Cole ever not win LVP last season?
I think I gave it to Damon last episode, but yeah, he's probably the highest ranking of the LVPs. He just seems like I don't know, like he will be at the Battle of Rick's Rest, so hopefully we see a lot more of him there. He just seems like a scorned lover.
Yeah.
And it's been years and he refused to get over it, and then he kind of pushes his mistakes onto other people. He's just kind of a loser. He kind of is a loser.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we haven't seen him fight.
The same mistake. He's repeating the same mistake even more than Allison is at this point, because you did with Rhaenyra too.
Yeah.
You know how this is going to turn out. It doesn't go well for you.
The only one who has a brain is Otto.
I'm blaming other people for your mistakes. It's not helping you, Christian.
It's like, everybody joined the circus. Everybody joined the circus episode. I agree, the Battle of the Brothers was sad. It was very sad. I love the scene because it was very well acted, very well choreographed with the cinematography. Very sad, and I'm very happy with the way they did it. It was very similar to how it was in the books, so I'm very happy with that. Like, I'm open to changes from the books if it creates more depth and more story. But that's not what they did with Blood and Cheese. Blood and Cheese's changes for me took away depth. So, yeah.
I agree with that.
So hopefully next week it is going to be a Damon heavy episode, and we're going to see Harrenhal. which is always a fun time to see Harrenhal in the House of Horrors. So yeah, it's gonna be very interesting next episode. Maybe Aegon's actor will not be MVP next episode with how heavy it's gonna be with Daemon. But yeah, Rhaenyra's character is very weak this season for me. Alicent's very weak this season as well, but I'm just kind of over her character arc already. It's kind of like I'm ready to move forward with her. But I don't think she will ever move forward unless they make changes to her character, which is quite possible. I don't think we're going to see much of that. I really hope that they add some more layer with Kristen Cole and Alicent, but particularly Kristen Cole, because he's just been this sad little simp since last season. So
yeah, he's like, you may not be simp for the same person, but the mindset's the same.
It is the same.
He finds someone, he latches on, and he will not let go, and then he gives in to impulse and sleeps with her. And then he feels really bad about it.
I am very sad though that the Battle of the Cargill Twins did finally take place, because I did really like their actors. And I'm really sad to see them go. That's going to be me the whole time of House of the Dragon. As people fall off, I'm going to be like very sad to see them go. Yeah. All right. I think that kind of sums up our recap of episode 2. Episode 3, we will be back around this same time to recap that episode and go over all the circus that is bound to come. So yeah, thank you guys all so much for coming out and listening to us rant and go over this episode, and we shall see you. Rhaenyra acts as if she is still 15. She does act as if she's still 15.
Absolutely acts as
she does. And Aegon is the same way. Like, he acts as if he's still 15. They both act like teenagers. And I think that's what...
I mean, neither of them were given super great parenting and or leadership in becoming ruler. That being said, yeah, they both still act like children.
Like, they both need to grow up. And...
They really do. Especially Rhaenyra, like...
Rhaenyra is muchly more grown up than Aegon, but she's also a lot older than Aegon. She's also had more teaching.
More grown up than Aegon. Yeah, she at least was cupbearer. She sat in on the small council meetings. Like, she was present.
Yeah, Rhaenys was good at that.
Nothing was given to Aegon.
No, nothing was given to Aegon. He's at a complete disadvantage.
He really is.
But yeah, she does act like she doesn't act any different than when she was, a teenager in the last season. And you would think that she would have grown up more than she has. But yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we will be back again next week going over episode 3. Very excited to see where we go from here, and we will be summarizing the inevitable circus that is going on. Thank you guys all so much for coming out, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your night.